All of us who are passionate about atheism and talk about it publicly know that there are lots of people we will never reach. Some of you watching this video right now are deeply religious, and there's probably nothing I can say that'll get you to change your mind about that. So why bother? Why make these videos? Why do any of this? Here's why. Because there are so many atheists still in the closet. They're afraid to tell other people that they're atheists. Sometimes they're afraid to tell themselves they're atheists. Maybe they live in the South. Maybe they're afraid of how their families will react. Maybe they worry about losing their jobs. Maybe they're pastors. But I want to remind them that they're not alone. A lot of people feel the same way about God as they do, and there's nothing wrong with that. I also realize that not everyone has the ability to do what I'm doing, which is talking about atheism out loud and being able to say that I'm an atheist. But if I can do that without fearing any punishment, why wouldn't I? Because there's a chance that something I say may stick with you, especially if you disagree with me. I hope you watch these videos and something I say makes you go, oh, he has a good point there. And maybe that starts happening more often, I hope. And that sort of seed will hopefully eventually grow. Really, isn't that the way we all change our minds about anything serious? You hear a point of view that you never really considered before and you think, oh, that's actually not a bad point. And then you kind of want to hear more of what that person has to say. I won't deny it. Part of the reason I make these videos is because I hope it encourages you to shed your faith. But that's not going to happen with one video. Hell, it might not even happen with just me. But maybe you'll watch these videos and maybe you'll pick up the God delusion and maybe you'll have some conversations with some of your atheist friends about faith. And maybe eventually you'll realize, oh, that side makes a whole lot more sense than the religious side I grew up with. Maybe. Because I enjoy challenging people about a subject that most people never really think about. So many people just accept the religion they were raised in without giving it too much critical thought. I probably have more respect for people who converted to some religion later in life than for people who just followed along with whatever religious beliefs their parents laid out for them growing up. Because if you changed your mind, that means you gave the issue some thought. Most people don't do that. Most people just avoid the topic entirely. As an atheist, it's kind of fun to have a conversation about a subject matter I feel so confidently about. I know where I stand on this issue. That's not always the case, but at least on this subject, I feel like I could hold my own. Because I want to change your mind about atheists. I remember when I was growing up, I had a lot of negative stereotypes about people who were gay. But that changed the moment I actually met someone who was gay. And as I met even more people after that, I started educating myself about the issues LGBT people have to deal with. And now I'm proud to call myself an ally of that community. A lot of people say they've never met an atheist. The truth is probably that they've just never met someone who's openly atheist. And it's a lot harder to demonize people once you get to know them. And that goes for really any minority group. The more of us who come out of our closet, the better it is for everyone. And that goes double if you don't fit the stereotypes most people think of when they think of atheist. So if you're not angry, if you're not a professor somewhere, and let's face it, if you're not white and male, I think you have even more of an obligation to let people know that you're an atheist if you can, if you feel safe to do so. But usually, in my experience, anytime anyone comes out of the closet as an atheist, it surprises some people. It throws them off. And that's always fun. So shatter the stigma with me. Because I'm right. I realize everyone feels that way about everything, but there you go. I'm confident about it. I enjoy sharing it. No one's obligated to listen. And the upside is huge. Because we can make a difference. I have seen atheists change laws. We've reduced Christian privilege in certain parts of the country. We've shown that you don't need God to be good. People give religion way too much credit, and it's about time we tackle this idea that faith is a virtue. That means challenging religion, especially Christianity, when it gets put on a pedestal. That means we need to speak up when we see a merging of church and state. That means we need to vote for candidates who say they'll respect the Establishment Clause. Because religion does a lot of damage. Not all religions are the same, and not all religious beliefs are harmful, but many are. They might make you think that questioning their faith is bad, or that having sex before marriage is evil, or that homosexuality is somehow wrong, or that science is part of some big conspiracy. They might control you with guilt or the threat of hell. They might take your money. They might put a wedge between you and your family. And sometimes they compel you to do good things, but for bad reasons. None of this is to say that all atheists are good people. We're not. But when the problems with religion are so obvious, shouldn't more of us be challenging it? Because if we don't talk about it, nothing will change. When you think about the stranglehold Christianity has on this country and in our politics and with women's bodies and even school boards, we need more people, Christians included, to talk about why that's a problem. And talking about why religious beliefs shouldn't be the basis for public policy. Because I learn a lot by talking about atheism publicly. If I say something wrong on my blog or in one of these videos, commenters are really quick to correct me. Too quick, really. It's like you're excited about it. They're not always tactful about it, but they do steer me in the right direction. I'm much better, I think, at talking about atheism now than I was 5 years ago, or even 5 videos ago. And it's because the more you do something, the more you're going to learn in the process. I don't make the same mistakes I used to make when talking about this subject. Don't get me wrong. I still make a lot of mistakes, but I think I'm getting better. That wouldn't happen if I just read books, took in information, and never put anything of my own back out there. To all the atheists out there who talk about your lack of faith openly, why do you do it? Let us know below. My name is Hemant Mehta, and I write at friendlyatheist.com. What do you want to see a video about? Let us know in the comments, and we'll be sure to check it out. And don't forget to subscribe.